Good evening, and welcome to the Ed Becker Center for Conservation, headquarters of Greenbelt, here at the Cox Reservation in Essex, Massachusetts. We're sorry we can't be together in person this evening for our annual meeting, but we're delighted to be able to welcome you virtually, and we're really glad that you're able to join us. Let's go inside.
Good evening, and welcome to the Essex County Greenbelt Association's first and hopefully last electronic members meeting. My name is Philip Blake, and I am the current chair of the Greenbelt Board of Directors. As presented to me, this role did not include a lengthy presentation in front of a video camera. If I knew that was part of the role, I would have lost 20 pounds, I would have learned to read from a teleprompter, or I might have just said no. All joking aside, this is a little bit daunting to present instead of to a live audience to a video camera. And so I'm going to bumble a few times, and I'm going to read from my notes a few times more than I normally would, all as a way to break the ice for everyone to follow me. Among this year's casualties to coronavirus is our in-person meeting. It's a wonderful event. In its normal format, approximately 50 or 60 people show up in front of the barn. You can see a photo here, and raise a glass of wine or soda with friends before we conduct our annual business meeting. The setting is casual. We share some food that we've all brought in a Dutch treat format, and the event exudes Greenbelt. Casual, fun, practical, and focused. It's like a reverse mullet with the party in the front and the business at the back. COVID-19 has altered how Greenbelt operates, but not, fortunately, its progress. The Land Conservation Department continues with its work. Some projects are being completed, and others, the timelines are being moved back. On Tuesday night, for example, the board accepted the transfer of over 150 acres from the Hamilton Wenham Open Land Trust, for which we thank H. Bolt and our Land Conservation Director, Crystal Point. The Development Engagement Department has found new ways to communicate with members and the public and novel ways to host events. For example, this year's Art in the Barn will be held largely online, with the viewing and bidding occurring mostly over the internet. In these scary times, Kathy Lanoy and her team have been providing timely, accurate, and positive updates on our properties and the activities Greenbelt continues. Each department consistently shines at Greenbelt, but at this moment we are particularly grateful to David Rimmer in the Conservation and the Stewardship Department, who have managed to keep our properties open when some other organizations have not. It has meant additional time, putting up new signs, patrolling parking lots, directing people about social distancing, and it's meant significant additional stress for the staff and for Kate Bowditch. But by doing so, they have allowed us as members to continue accessing the property and the trails and gotten us out into nature when we most needed to. I want to thank the Stewardship Department and Kate Bowditch and others here on the staff for doing that extra work, taking on that extra stress. And I also want to thank you, the members, who are using the trails for following the guidelines and maintaining social distancing. That has allowed us to keep our properties open. Thank you. I'm proud to say that we are moving forward and changing things up just as we have had to do for this meeting. At this point, you have on the screen the agenda for tonight's meeting. I'd like to highlight a couple of changes. The first is that we're going to have a short video in which the board and staff introduce themselves. This will not make up for the loss of our personal contact, but at least you could put a face with the names you see regularly in our updates. Second, at the end of the meeting, our new board chair, Allison Falk, will make a few comments. With thanks to the Massachusetts Legislature and our governor, this annual members meeting is proceeding using a proxy format. I'm going to take a couple minutes just to explain that so people understand how it works. As part of that, I want to thank everyone for participating by video here tonight, and also by signing and returning your proxies. In the normal year, we might have 50, 60, or 70 members here at Cox Reservation. Obviously, it's a highlight of our year, but of our 3,500 members, this year we have a record 519 members participating by proxy. It's impressive. Over 81% of those are people who have been members for over 5 years, many of them for over 20 years. We also have 19% of the respondents who are members for less than 5 years. I think that also is a good sign and a significant statistic. I want you all to thank yourselves, pat yourself on the back. Now would be a good time to do that. I also need to thank the Board Development Committee, Kathy Lanoy, Sharon Paccioni from our Development Engagement Department, Kate Bowditch, and David Heacock from our Land Conservation Department for preparing the member mailing and coordinating this online event. A special thanks goes to Board Member Jerry Klima for providing his professional expertise in helping us prepare the proxy and the mailing. In the conference room with me tonight at the Becker Center for Conservation are Kate Bowditch, Greenbelt's president, Kent Wasepka, our treasurer, Timo Fritzinger, our assistant secretary, Allison Falk, a board member and incoming chair of the board of directors, and Kate Bowditch, along with David Heacock, the geographic and technical support specialist here at Greenbelt, who is making all of this work tonight. Also in the building, as is always the case, is Dave Rimmer, providing support and working through any issues we need to troubleshoot. At this point, we're going to move forward with our official business. This is what we have to do per the bylaws of Greenbelt in order to complete our meeting. By way of background, Chapter 53 of the Massachusetts Acts of 2020 allows members of a not-for-profit to vote by proxy, with any member voting by proxy, quote, considered present at the meeting for purposes of quorum requirements, end quote. As noted above, we have a remarkable 519 members who have submitted their votes by proxy. In addition, we have the 4 directors in the room who are also members and will be voting. Accordingly, the Assistant Secretary reports that a quorum of 523 members are present, with 4 members present in person and 519 members represented by proxy. To complete the actions required of the members at our annual meeting, I'm going to call the motion from one of the members here in the room, with the votes of those in the room and those who voted by proxy all counted. Assistant Treasurer Timo Fritzinger then will read the results of the vote. First item up is the approval of the minutes of our 2019 annual members meeting. On your computer screen, I'm seeing it, should be the minutes from last year, which were included in the package sent to you. I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes from the 2019 annual meeting as presented in the materials.
I move to approve the minutes of Greenbelt's 2019 annual member meeting.
I second that motion.
Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I call for a vote on the motion by ballot and for the secretary to now report the results of that vote.
The vote on the motion to approve the minutes of the 2019 annual meeting is 509 members voting in favor, 1 member voting against, with 13 abstentions.
The motion is adopted and the minutes are approved. Thank you. We're now going to go on to the election of the officers and directors. On your screen is the slate presented by the Board Development Committee and recommended by the Board of Directors. Are there any other nominations? Hearing none, is there a motion to approve the slate of officers and directors?
I move to approve the election of the slate of officers and directors nominated by the Board Development Committee, with officer directors to be elected for a 1-year term and non-officer directors to be elected for a 3-year term as provided in the bylaws.
I second that motion.
Any discussion? Great. I call for a vote on motion by ballot and for the secretary to report the results of the vote.
The vote on the motion to approve the slate of officers and directors is 515 members voting in favor, no members voting against, and 8 abstentions.
Thank you. The motion is adopted and the officers and directors are elected as proposed. Now would be a good time to engage at home, perhaps clapping or giving a little holler for our new directors and new officers. Thank you. At this point, try to bring in a little personality to this, we're going to show a video where our staff and board members introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Maggie Brown, Land Conservation Project Manager.
Hi there, Kathy Lanoy, Director of Development and Community Engagement.
I'm Dave McKinnon, Land Manager and Trails Coordinator.
Hi, I'm Jane Rumbrill, Event and Outreach Coordinator at Greenbelt.
Chris LaPointe, Director of Land Conservation.
I'm Mike Carboni, and I am the Assistant Director of Land Stewardship.
Hello, Rachel Horgan, Development Manager at Greenbelt.
Hi, I'm Sharon Passioni, Design Manager.
I'm Dave Heacock, Geographic and Technical Support Specialist.
I'm Vanessa Johnson-Hall. I'm the Assistant Director of Land Conservation at Greenbelt.
Hi, I'm Alexandra, Development and Administrative Coordinator at Greenbelt.
Hi, Abby Hardy-Moss, Conservation Planner and GIS Manager.
Hey, I'm Mike Galley, and I'm Greenbelt's Seasonal Stewardship Technician.
Hi, I'm Sable Wiseman, Greenbelt's Finance and Operations Manager.
Dave Rimmer, Director of Stewardship.
Allison Falk. I've lived in Essex for 17 years and have been on the Greenbelt board for 3. I currently sit on the board governance committee and am very excited to step in as Greenbelt's next chair. Greenbelt is a wonderful organization. I'm at Cox right now and we look forward to your continued support. Thank you.
Hi all you Greenbelt fans. I'm Annie Madden here in West Newbury, my hometown. And I'm here at the Indian Hill Conservation Area. Greenbelt is such a terrific organization to be a part of. I've been on the board since 2004 and currently for committee work I'm chair of the governance committee and serve on acquisitions and also development and engagement. I'm so glad you're participating in annual meeting. Be well.
Hi, my name is Jonathan Sherwood. I am the chair of the Open Space, Natural Resources and Trails Committee in the city of Amesbury. I'm a lifelong hiker, lover of the outdoors, and I love the North Shore area and its diverse ecosystems and communities. And I very much looking forward to serving the area and my community by being on the Essex County Greenbelt Board. Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Sarah Hammond-Creighton and I live in Manchester. I'm really excited to join the Greenbelt Board. I believe strongly in the mission. I'm an environmentalist by training and by profession. I work on issues of climate change, energy efficiency, land stewardship, and have had some experience with farming as well. I really look forward to meeting all of you soon in person, and thanks for your confidence in me. Wish you a great night.
Hello, my name's Bill Leahy. I'm delighted and honored to be joining the Board of Directors of Essex Greenbelt. My wife and I split our time between Gloucester and Cambridge. I recently retired from a 40-year career as an environmental lawyer. I look forward to lending a hand to this terrific organization. Thank you.
My name is Philip Lake from Hamilton, Massachusetts. Happy to be a member of the Greenbelt family and a director since 2010.
Greenbelt community members, my name is Peter Loring. I live in Beverly. I joined the board of the Greenbelt in the mid-1980s. A fellow named Bud Weiler suggested I join. At the time, I didn't have any idea what the Greenbelt was all about. I wasn't even a member. But as the years gone by, I've learned all about them under very many different directors and presidents. First was Liz Bell. Then, of course, was Ed Becker, who was director, and then was made president. And then, finally, Kate Bowditch. What a great organization this is. I hope you all can support it.
Hi, I'm Brad Am. I've been a member of the Greenbelt board since 2010. I'm currently on the Finance Committee as well as the Investment Policy Committee. I live in Newbury with my family.
Hi, my name is Leslie Burns. I live in Essex, Massachusetts, and I have been on the Greenbelt board since May 2019.
My name is Doug DeAngelis and I live in Newbury. Recently celebrated my 20-year anniversary with Greenbelt.
Thanks, Mini-Me. Nice jacket. And thanks to all our supporters out there.
My name is Timo Fritzinger, and I live in Essex. I joined the board last year, and I serve on the Finance Committee and on the Green Meadow Farms
Gray, and I live in Rockport. This coming year, I will be completing 2 terms on the Greenbelt Board of Directors, and I currently serve on the Governance and on the Development Committees.
I'm Weezy Harrigan with Greenbelt. I'm on the Board of Trustees. This is my 4th year. I'm the chairman of the Audit Committee. I live in Wenham. I grew up in Ipswich, and I have an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old girl. Thanks so much.
Hello, my name is Kent Wasepka. I live in Hamilton. I've been on the board of Greenbelt for 7 years, and I am the treasurer. I'm also on the investment committee.
I'm Jerry Klima. I've been a Greenbelt director for 4 years. I'm also on the audit committee and the stewardship committee, as well as being an osprey watcher. And that's pretty easy because we have osprey in our backyard.
Hi, I'm Holly Langer. I live in Boxford and have been on the Greenbelt board for about 15 years. And I am currently the chair of the stewardship committee.
Hi, I'm Charlie Mann. I live in Beverly. I've been on the Greenbelt board for 6 years. I'm chairman of the acquisition committee, and I sit on the finance and stewardship committees. What I love about Greenbelt is their effectiveness at land conservation and the fact that they're so welcoming and inclusive of all user groups to their many properties. I feel that we're also very fortunate to have an organization like Greenbelt for the benefit it provides in terms of quality of life, habitat protection, and just the scenic beauty of our county.
Hi, I'm Betsy Shields. I'm from Ipswich. I've been on the board about 9 or 10 years, and I'm on the governance committee, the acquisitions committee, and the development committee.
Good afternoon, Greenbelt. My name is Spencer Purinton, and I live in Newburyport, Massachusetts with my 3 daughters and my wife, Elizabeth. Currently, I am sitting on a piece of salt marsh that was protected by Greenbelt many, many years ago. And I love getting out on my Saturdays and Sundays to a Greenbelt property. I'm with my buddy, say hello, Rocket. And I just wanted to tell you what you already know, that it's a privilege to serve with such incredibly dedicated conservationists. It's a wonderful team, and I'm just glad to be a part of it. Thank you so much for attending our meeting. Take care. Bye-bye.
Well, that was great. I want to thank Allison Falk for coming up with the idea of letting people introduce themselves that way, and I think we'll adopt that going forward. And I have to say, a lot of people in that video who did a lot better than I think I am, and so some good candidates to lead this if we ever have to do an online video presentation in the future. At this time, I'd like to introduce Kent Wasepka, who is both our Finance Committee Chair and our Treasurer. He does a great job, and he's retired from Goldman Sachs, brings a tremendous amount of knowledge about for-profit and not-for-profit finances, and he's going to present our financial update.
Thank you, Philip, and thank you. Glad to be here. As Philip said, my name is Kent Wasepka. I'm the treasurer here at Greenbelt. So normally at the annual meeting, I give an update on the year-end financial condition as of the end of 2019. And I am going to do that, but given the specific circumstances we're in, I thought I would give a quick update on where we stand today, just a couple of points. So first off, with years of contributions from members like you and conservative financial management, I can tell you that we're fine. We're in a good spot financially. That being said, like probably all nonprofits this year and most for-profits, revenues are down. So we are seeing lower revenues, and we've been trying to reduce expenses as best we can to try and balance the budget. With a recognition that a majority of our revenues actually come from members like you, donations for the annual fund and membership. If you are in a position to help, to contribute, I can tell you that everyone at Greenbelt would appreciate that. So on to the regular update. As of year-end calendar 2019, you have the chart in front of you. We had total revenue of just under $1.8 million and total expenses of about $1.75 million. So we were in the black. We had current financial assets in cash of just about $16 million, and then also land assets valued at approximately $38 million, for a grand total of $54.8 million in assets. And that's it. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Kent. And I think your comments are wise. We have been well led financially for a long period of time, and that is really showing its benefits now. Not-for-profits are struggling, and obviously a lot of people have their focus on other areas appropriately, and we're trying to be sensitive to that, but at the same time, obviously trying to keep Greenbelt on the positive track that it has been able to maintain over its almost 60-year history at this point. At this time, I'd like to move on to the next section of our agenda. This is the presentation of awards, and the biggest award at Greenbelt is named in honor of Al Creighton. This was initiated in 2011 to honor Al Creighton, one of our greatest conservation champions. Al passed away in 2018 and is missed greatly. We recognize his legacy as a conservationist through this award. At this point, look, a good photo of Al out on his boat, also a boater. While a successful businessman, Al Creighton's passion was preserving open space, and his leadership in this area was influential and ahead of his time. He encouraged conservation organizations to be aggressive in protecting land, to reach out, inform, and encourage landowners, and to establish working partnerships with both land trusts and state agencies. Throughout the state and New England, Al contributed to the protection of our open and wild lands. In 1963, he was the co-founder of the Manchester Essex Conservation Trust, MECT, to protect the wilderness, a vast area of 17th century woodlots in Manchester and Essex from suburban development. MECT remains active and is headquartered here at Cox Reservation. In 1961, Al became one of the first board members of Essex County Greenbelt Association, then an all-volunteer organization meeting in the Winthrop Barn. Al served on the Trustees of Reservations Board of Directors from 1977 to 1998, serving as its board president from 1995 to 1998. He was a long-time board member of the Maine Coastal Heritage Trust, and in 1986, he was instrumental in helping the island community of Vinyl Haven, Maine, start their local land trust. Al Creighton received many awards for his work, including the Trustees Charles Elliott Award, and in 2015, the Essex County Heritage Hero Award. As noted, we established this award to honor and recognize the area leaders in natural resource protection. It is Greenbelt's highest award. And this year, we are very pleased and honored to announce that it goes to 3 members of the Farnsworth family, Noel Mann, Jerry Farnsworth, and Martha Farnsworth. Each member of the family has earned this award individually, but they would not accept it alone and would only accept it together. Now for a little surprise, please listen to this special tribute from someone who knows Jerry, Martha, and Noel well, and who, of course, is well known by each of you.
Hello, Noel, Martha, and Jerry. I am honored and delighted to say a few words in recognition of the Al Creighton Conservation Award. The Al Creighton Award is the highest honor Greenbelt can bestow for work in land conservation. It recognizes Al's legacy as a champion for land conservation and celebrates those whose work reflects his ideals and commitment. I can think of no other family more deserving of this award than the Farnsworth family. For decades, you've been helping acquire and protect critical lands for Greenbelt and for the region. Your family's generosity on behalf of our local environment goes back nearly 50 years with the gift by your parents of 80 acres of land in North Andover in 1972. The Farnsworth Reservation has been a much enjoyed Greenbelt property ever since. Each of you have carried on this tradition in your own significant way. Jerry, you provided crucial support for Innisquam Woods in Gloucester and for the recent acquisition of the River Road property along the Merrimack River in West Newbury. Martha, you've helped Greenbelt create a farmland conservation program and supported the acquisition of Sagamore Hill, Pony Express, and Brown Spring Farm. And Noel, you've led the way on so many conservation initiatives. From Thompson Street Reservation, Carter Reservation, and Dogtown in Gloucester, to the formation of Cape Ann Trail Stewards. All three of you have put your hearts and souls into making a difference. You've placed your own land in conservation. You've made our local environment better and Greenbelt stronger. As you know, Greenbelt's work is all about land, but its success is made possible by the special people who believe in its mission. All of you are special to Greenbelt and to me. It's been one of the most enjoyable parts of my career to work with each one of you and to consider you a friend. In these days of a viral pandemic, the essential place of nature in our lives has never been more apparent. The Farnsworth family has helped keep this front and center for all of us today and for generations to come. I know that Al Creighton would be so pleased to know that his namesake award is going to all of you. Congratulations on this well-deserved award. Thank you for all that you've done, and be well.
Thank you, Ed. I hope you're watching. I expect you're watching. Thank you for everything, but also for that great tribute. I also want to honor David Torrey, who many of you know as residents of Essex County, and who has been a very active member of the board. This year, David retires from the board after 7 years, 7 productive years, and there's no way I can adequately capture David in words, or his contributions to Greenbelt, but I certainly have a few comments. David, if you know him well, is very adventurous. Since leaving his birthplace in England, David has lived in South Africa, France, and Long Island before, fortunately for us, moving back to Essex County. Through those moves, he's developed strong interests in sailing, farming, acting, playing the dame in multiple pantomimes, as well as in Essex County and its open spaces. A successful businessman, David might be considered the quintessential executive leader. He sees problems others don't, and then he takes them on. These traits led him in an early entry into the computer field, starting a software company based in England to start, called Keras, which Computer Associates later acquired. These traits also led David to become a leader in local philanthropy. When Helen, his wife and partner in all these adventures, started a not-for-profit to support local arts, David realized that Essex County lacked resources to help support and train those working in the not-for-profit sector. He started Broadhow to address the need. That later, when he realized that Essex County's donors were sending their dollars into Boston, he started the Essex County Charitable Foundation. At Greenbelt, David has been involved in pretty much everything. He's impacted many aspects of our operations and all for the better. He has participated in innumerable 7:30 a.m. meetings, and he and Helen have hosted many events at their house late into the night. That includes multiple enjoyable dinners during our search for a new president. None of this really captures David or what makes him such a good board member and colleague. He encapsulates many of the traits that I personally hold in highest regards. In particular, he exudes enthusiasm. He is generous with his time, his contacts, his ideas, and his resources. He expresses his many thoughts and plans with energy and, of course, that loud, caring voice. He also listens. He's willing to hear the other side of an argument and even occasionally to change his mind. Enthusiastic, expressive, engaged, charming, and witty, David is willing to be pleased and to be pleased. We are proud to have had David on the Greenbelt board. He's inspired Greenbelt to think bigger, to be better, and to do more. Greenbelt is a better organization because of that, and David, we thank you. At this point, our president, Kate Bowditch, is going to join us. Kate, at this point, needs little introduction. She's made a point to meet as many members of Greenbelt during her tenure as she can, and she's been incredibly successful. While it's only been 18 months, I feel like Kate has been at Greenbelt for years, and I would be surprised if you actually have not met her at this point or seen her speak. It's a joy to work with Kate. Whether at Cox or in the boardroom, her leadership is natural and unassuming. She's pragmatic, smart, and willing to take on all aspects of the role, which includes, in this case, being the bottle washer in addition to being the chief. Her work is driven by an obvious love of nature. And I mean that just not in the way of getting outdoors to experience nature, which she does very regularly and makes a point of, which is great, but also the scientist's interest and desire to understand how nature works, how our human activities impact nature, and what we can do to help protect and promote nature. While it's not expressed out loud, 2 years ago, we were at this meeting, this members' meeting, with concern how we could find a worthy successor to Ed Becker, a reasonable concern. I look back and I want to thank Ed for being a worthy predecessor for Kate. While not going to be working with Kate as closely as I have in the past, I look forward to working with her for many years, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Philip. What a nice introduction. Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us tonight. I'm going to give you a brief overview of some of the highlights of our work in 2019, although Philip has touched on some of them, as has Kent, our treasurer, so I won't go on for too long. But before I begin, I do just want to make a little special thank you to Beth Cooper. It wouldn't feel like a Greenbelt annual meeting if we didn't have a beautiful arrangement from Beth, and I was so happy that she came by this afternoon, and so it feels right. Thanks, Beth. I know all of you are members, and many of you have been members for a long time, but I thought I always like to start with a little reminder just of our basic mission and work. So here are just a few slides to set the stage. Since our founding in 1961, Greenbelt has conserved over 17,800 acres of land across Essex County, and that land is protected forever. Our conservation work includes conserving farmland and our local food supply, protecting the environment, especially our natural resources, protecting habitats for flora and fauna, especially for endangered species. And as we increasingly realize is important, protecting land that will help us remain resilient in the face of a changing climate. One of the things I love best about Greenbelt is our focus on people. We know that when people spend time out in nature, they are happier and healthier, and they're also more likely to be champions of open space and conservation. and protection of nature, and to be Greenbelt allies and supporters. So I'm always delighted to see all the people that are out using our properties. So I'm going to jump quickly now just to a few highlights of 2019, some of which you've heard. But here's a quick graphic just to give you a sense of our work in 2019 across the county. What you see here are red dots and triangles. The circles represent land conservation projects that Greenbelt completed in 2019 on properties that we now own. We call those fee properties. And the triangles represent properties where someone else remains the owner, but Greenbelt holds a conservation restriction on the property so that it will be protected forever. The other wonderful thing this graphic illustrates is all of those green properties connecting and expanding across the county in a series of green belts. As every year goes by, more and more turns green, which is great. There are a few properties I want to highlight in particular from 2019 because they were exciting and important for us, although all our work is exciting and important. Brown Spring Farm, a wonderful farm in West Newbury, which is now owned by Chris Grant, the young man you see in the picture with his partner Alice Tonry. They own the farm and have already started getting ready for the growing season of 2020. Greenbelt holds a conservation restriction on Brown Spring Farm, so it will remain in active farm production forever. Another wonderful and enjoyable project for us last year was the preservation of the Beaver Pond Reservation in Merrimack. This piece of land is adjacent to the Merrimack Town Forest and will allow us to build a connecting trail link to the trails in the town forest. We also had a great time working with an elementary school class who helped us, among other things, name this property. And finally, I'm going to mention Green Meadows Farm and Vineyard Hill in Hamilton and Topsfield. This 150-acre parcel of land we closed on this parcel in November of last year. It was an amazing experience. The west side of the property, on the left of Asbury Street as you look in this picture, is Green Meadows Farm, which was for many years a beloved organic farm with CSA, a community-supported agriculture program, as well as a farm stand. We're very excited to have recently released a request for proposals, or an RFP, inviting interested farmers to apply, and we will lease this farm to a farmer, hopefully starting in 2021. In the meantime, for this year, Green Meadows Farm will be in agricultural production with the Marini family, as it was last year. On the right-hand side, the picture you see here, this side of the road, is Vineyard Hill, which will be a marvelous, typical Greenbelt reservation with trails, a parking lot, kiosk, maps, and so on, and it connects into wonderful trails in all directions to the north, south, and east. So it's really a terrific property, and we were delighted to be able to preserve this last year. Oops. Pardon me. One really fun thing that we got to do last year is something we call undevelopment. This is in our new Castle Neck River Reservation property right on 133. I'm sure many of you have seen it and driven by it and hopefully been there for a walk. The photo on the left shows what it used to look like before we took down the house, undeveloped it, and turned it into this beautiful gateway that leads up the hill and into the meadows on Castle Neck River Reservation, which are currently, I can tell you, filled with bobolinks. We also completed 2 all-access trails last year, which was something we're really proud of and we hope to be able to do more of. On the left, you see the all-access trail at Sane Field in Gloucester, and on the right is the Castle Neck River Reservation Trail. And I certainly always love to mention the Osprey program and our piping plover protection programs. The Osprey Cam is up and live right now on our website. The pair of osprey that our camera is focused on are on a platform near the Lobsterland restaurant in Gloucester and are favorite pair, Annie and Squam, have laid 3 eggs this year, and everyone is eagerly watching and hoping that they will have another successful chick or 2 or maybe even 3 this year. So lots of fun keeping track of that with all of our Osprey program monitors who report to us on a regular basis about all the 49 nesting pairs of osprey that we have in the county. Greenbelt's events last year were wildly diverse and successful, a lot of fun, all kinds of people involved, over 1,600 people participating in these various events, and that does not even include the people who joined us for Art in the Barn. Art in the Barn last year was a smash success, just wonderful. It was beautiful weather, tons of people, interesting and gorgeous art, flowers as usual, just a terrific event. This year, as you heard from Philip, we will unfortunately not be joining you in person for Art in the Barn here at Cox Reservation, but we will still be hosting art on the web. And please look for a postcard that just came out recently, and we hope that you'll join us and look at some of the beautiful art and perhaps participate in the auction. So a few key metrics or measures that I can share with you from last year. We conserved 310 acres of land. We have 4 new properties that will become reservations. We have over 3,300 paid active members, which is wonderful, and I think many of you are watching tonight. Over 272 volunteers worked with us last year in all different areas, and we raised, between our operating budget and our land conservation projects, $6 million last year, which is astounding. And really thanks to folks like you, the members of the community who understand the value of and want to support open space conservation. We couldn't do our work without you. So many, many thanks. Before I wrap up the slideshow, I just want to remind folks that we do have a new newsletter coming out. Newly designed. The theme for the spring newsletter is farms. It will be an all online newsletter, at least for now, and do keep an eye out for it. It's going to be in one of those nice readable formats online, and it's a terrific content and I think a very beautiful new design. So I'm really excited about that and encourage all of you to take a look at it when it comes out. So I think with that, it is important to touch on a couple of things that are going on with Greenbelt right now. Like everyone and every organization, as you've heard from Philip and Kent, Greenbelt has been impacted by the current pandemic. We've had to cancel all of our in-person events. We've had to learn how to work remotely, and we've had to try to stay connected to each other as a staff and a board and to all of you. In particular, I really want to mention the amazing effort that's been made by Greenbelt's Events and Outreach Coordinator, Jane Rumrill. Jane had arranged an amazing diverse set of events for Greenbelt this late winter, spring, and early summer. All those events were canceled. It was a crushing blow for us and for the community. But Jane pivoted without a complaint and created a whole world of online activities and events, and took on the daunting task of creating art on the web to replace the normal Art in the Barn. We have an amazing staff here, and everyone has risen to the challenges of the pandemic. Now I've lost my notes. So, I think I also really want to mention that over the course of this, our revenues have taken a major hit. We didn't feel comfortable fundraising during the worst of the pandemic, and we have seen a significant decline in our donations and expect that we will end the year in worse shape than we had hoped. We've worked hard to revise our budget and reduce our expenses, but most important, Greenbelt has kept working, albeit remotely. We've kept our properties open. We've created online events like tonight's annual meeting. We've welcomed back the osprey, who have never heard of COVID-19. And we must be doing something right. Our properties are full of people enjoying nature. We've seen an uptick in new members. And I can't tell you what a nice experience it is to open the mail and find a friendly note thanking us or sometimes even an unexpected contribution for us to use where needed most. As Kent mentioned in his remarks, we know many people aren't in a position to make charitable gifts right now. Many people really are suffering financially. But for those who can, we would welcome your support, and we can definitely put it to good use. In closing, thanks again to all of you, our members and our closest allies and supporters, for making 2019 such a success, and for keeping us going through the craziness of 2020. I hope to be able to see you all again in person before too much time has passed. And I would now like to bring up Allison, Philip is coming back. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Kate. Big year in 2019, weird year in 2020, but we are moving forward, and it is inspiring to see what is getting done, and I think hopefully you get to see it in the production of materials that you get both through the internet and through the mail. We're very strong with our engagement and very appropriate with our messaging. So at this time, I'm very excited to tell you a little bit about our incoming board chair, Allison Falk, who will start at our next meeting and lead us for the next 3 years. Raised in Houston, Texas, and Dover, Massachusetts, Allison resides in Essex with her husband Scott and her 2 teenage children, Peyton and Charlie. Allison is a lifelong hiker throughout New England and the world, including Mount Kenya and in Bhutan. Allison enjoyed a 20-plus year career in leading and supporting executive leadership transitions in the non-for-profit, social venture, and philanthropic sectors before retiring in 2016. Her work focused on mission-driven organizations like Greenbelt. As an active member of the North Shore community, Allison has been involved in numerous not-for-profit endeavors and school funding activities, including as the former chair of the Spalding Educational Fund, which raises money and provides grant for educational programs in the Manchester Essex School District. As we prepared for this transition, I most often connected with Allison while she's making deliveries for Meals for Wheels. Since joining the Greenbelt board, Allison has served on numerous committees, including the Transition Committee and our Presidential Search Committee, where with her search expertise, she was particularly insightful and helpful and valuable as we went through the process and completed a very rewarding search. Allison has brought her insight about not-for-profits and leadership to our Governance Committee, where she will continue. And most importantly, Allison is committed to Greenbelt and its mission. Obviously, this year, we're in a different environment. Each board chair takes on certain roles, often not of their own choosing. Allison commences during this challenging period when there needs to be a focus on communication, clarity, and support for our president and our staff. Allison's strengths are particularly well suited for doing this. She is the right person for this time. The board of directors is thrilled that she has agreed to serve as the chair, and we want to congratulate her.
Thank you so much, Philip. Before I talk about looking forward on behalf of the entire board, I would like to express our deep gratitude for you, Philip, for all that you have brought to Greenbelt. During your tenure as chair, Greenbelt has evolved, grown, and deepened its impact across Essex County, expanding its footprint and helping to protect incredibly special and valuable parcels of land. This is a wonderful legacy and one we will all enjoy for generations to come. You are sagacious, fearless, determined, and bring humor and energy to everything you do. It's for some of these reasons that we would like to present you with this beautiful bronze sculpture of a raven, beautifully crafted by Chris Williams, the wonderful artist in Essex, Massachusetts. We feel that the raven symbolizes a few of the qualities and attributes we have come to admire. Looking beyond the raven adorning spooky Halloweenscapes, they are actually very intelligent, adaptable, and truly fascinating creatures. Following are a few of the characteristics and attributes which you both share. Intelligence. The raven is recognized as a genius of birds and widely described as being bold, clever, and playful. And they are almost always doing something worth watching. And Philip, you are a guy to watch. What has happened under your leadership as chair is remarkable. You and the raven both seem to share a similar trademark, and that is the capacity for curiosity, adaptability, and a knack for solving complex problems. Ravens work together. They can understand cause and effect and are known for being crafty and creative. So much of Greenbelt's work is complex and unique, with unexpected twists and turns. With an unflappable, calm, and collaborative approach, you jump from one thing to the next, working to find clarity and solutions. Your thoughtful voice has been instrumental in helping Greenbelt accomplish so much over the past few years. Expressive communicators. While the raven is a bit more vociferous, they have a vast vocabulary and can be expressive in tone. Seemingly never at a loss for words, you bring such clarity, thought, insight, and humor. Playfulness. While we don't expect you to follow the ravens down snow-covered roofs or create snow baths or play with sticks, your love of the outdoors and adventurous spirit are infectious and a joy to be a part of. Grass is clearly not growing under your feet. This brings me to the final characteristic, which ties it all together: empathy. The raven never forgets a friendly face. You have a natural inclination for kindness, which has been so deeply appreciated. A skilled connector, you have kept us all engaged, valued, and supported. The symbolic meaning of the raven in Native American lore describes it as creatures of metamorphosis and symbolizes change and transformation. Greenbelt has definitely grown and evolved in wonderful ways. We celebrate your leadership. I appreciate the support you've given me as I prepare to step in as chair. And we value your humor, dedication, and commitment to Greenbelt's work and mission. Thank you. Kate's going to say a few words.
Thanks, Allison. Well, Philip, you've been chair of the Greenbelt Board for 4 important and productive years. During your tenure, in addition to a leadership transition and a strategic plan, not to mention a pandemic, Greenbelt protected 67 properties. Congratulations. The Greenbelt staff put together a book in your honor, and I will just show the cover. It's a very nice book, but you'll have to read it later. But I am going to read one quote from the book because I think it really is perfect. "We will miss you dashing in, checking in, stopping in, and poking your head in to our offices to say hello with your backpack on, laptop in hand, and a ready high five and a big, genuine smile. Please accept the #1 Best Board Chair Award for writing the most thoughtful annual fund notes, sometimes a little late, but still the best, always jumping in to lend a hand, even bringing leftover peanut butter and fluffs to Cox, attending dozens and dozens and dozens of Greenbelt meetings and events, and keeping a calm, clear presence as you close out your tenure during a global pandemic. We also owe Julie and the rest of your family a lot of thanks for sharing you with us and for all the support we know that they gave you behind the scenes. On a personal note, I couldn't have been better supported upon my landing at Greenbelt, and much of that is because of you, Philip. I feel very lucky, and I'm sure everyone in the extended Greenbelt family does too. Thank you.
Thank you.
So I want to start by saying how sorry I am that we're not able to be together in person. The nights gathering in the barn at Cox can be truly magical, and tonight would have been one of the best. It's absolutely gorgeous here. But I look forward to next year when we can all be in person, and we'll hope for such good weather. Navigating this COVID-19 pandemic over the past few months has been a challenge for all of us. I've spent a lot of time reflecting on how we've come to where we are now and how we can adjust course to ensure that we don't face a similar situation in the future. I've been searching for the silver lining in all of this. As my world slowed down with what felt like it was at an abrupt stop, having access to a wonderful network of trails and woodlands to explore and get lost in, having a quiet place to regroup, have provided a refreshing break in the isolation. The buzzing of spring has been a true gift. This pandemic has put a spotlight on the importance of resiliency across water, climate, farming, natural habitats, to name just a few. Food supply chain vulnerabilities have never been more present when you go to the grocery store and you see the empty shelves and the rising prices. The impacts of social isolation and the limiting of outdoor activities have put a real negative impact on our mental and physical health. But someone shared with me the other day that Greenbelt has been one of the few sources of good news lately, and we've really tried to be just that. We've tried to keep our trails open, thanks to you all following the social distancing rules. We've tried to find creative ways to connect virtually to our wonderful Greenbelt community. And we're keeping a steadfast commitment to our mission, conserving natural habitat and landscapes and ensuring that there is accessible and available farmland throughout Essex County. These needs have never been more important as they are today. We are still in a holding pattern when it comes to moving around in the way we're used to and offering our wonderful array of in-person gatherings, but Greenbelt has pivoted with every turn, and we are working on creative and engaging online and virtual ways to continue the amazing work that we do. As we all know, Greenbelt is a uniquely amazing organization. We are blessed with an incredible staff, a talented and invested board, and an absolutely unbelievable community of supporters, you all. We hope you'll continue to explore our wonderful trails and reservations. Be sure to check out new developments on our website and in our newsletter. And please, please help us spread the word about Greenbelt. We cherish your support and engagement, and we are so glad that you were able to tune in tonight. Take care, be well, thank you.